There are lots of poor people, to an example you just gave, that they have issues with others and sometimes with large firms, but the lawyer fee is greater than the fee you're claiming.
It is their right. Unlike the right that someone has. All our rights exist in context.
What is the context of a second medical opinion?
Because you're disrespecting the process.
No.
Jesus, this is common sense, man.
Any situation which you see in the field, you're just dealing with Afro-Guyanese issues. If one, you can't bring and pull the leaders of the African community together, you're failing. And if two, you can't put forward a vision, a blueprint, and a plan for African Guyanese, you're failing as well.
People, to an example you just gave, that they have issues with others and sometimes with large firms, but the lawyer fee is greater than the fee you're claiming.
It is their
right.
Unlike the right that someone has. All our rights exist in context.
What is the context of a second medical opinion?
Because you're disrespecting the process.
No.
Jesus, this is common sense, man.
Any situation which you see in the field, you're just dealing with Afro-Guyanese issues. If one, you can't bring and pull the leaders of the African community together, you're failing. And if two, you can't put forward a vision, a blueprint, and a plan for African Guyanese, you're failing as well.
Pleasant Friday evening to you. This is the Freddie Kissoon Show, coming to you from Charlotte Street border at the corner of Arnold Street, adjacent to the office of the President. We're in a restaurant named Joga Bonito. That's Portuguese meaning good game. And it's owned by someone from social media and politics that you'll be familiar with, Kian Jabour. We're in his restaurant, English or Portuguese, Joga Bonito. Relax, Leonard Craig, who studied in China and Germany in Chinese for Joga Bonito, the beautiful game. But thanks for being with us on this Friday evening, and we have a no-nonsense young man with us. Of course, Craig is with us. So let's start the program right away and go to the owner of Joga Bonito. You're seeing the bar in the background there. We're inside the restaurant. Kian, thanks for having us. It's a long time. We've been here since, I think, Christmas time when you're preparing this place. Naipaul, V.S. Naipaul, whom you know very well, and your parents would know very well. He had his faults, but he said Caribbean people are not creative. Now, why would you want to give your restaurant? First, you had a restaurant in Jewelry Lane called Taco Loco, that's Spanish, and now Portuguese. Why not Demerara Rendezvous, Georgetown Hideout? Why Joga Bonito Portuguese? You're not Portuguese, you're Guyanese. Canadian.
Correct. This is strictly just business decision. No real loyalty or patriotism in the influence of why I chose the names. Taco Loco was decided upon because I wanted to open a Mexican influenced restaurant of the cuisine, and what had happened is when naming these types of businesses, it's good to be as direct as possible. So the taco is obviously tacos that we sell, which we still sell here at Joga Bonito, but also the loco was just a play for fun on the words Taco Loco. It rhymes, sounds good in English, and is understood in Spanish, etc. It's kind of a slogan. So Crazy Taco would be the translation in English. So that was more just a direct name for our Mexican cuisine. Now we've moved over here. It's called Joga Bonito by Taco Loco. So we kept the Taco Loco to make sure the familiarity is there. But Joga Bonito is actually, I've leaned more heavily into the sporting aspect. So we show all the football games here across the world. We're going to be the home of the World Cup coming up soon in June. We show all the Premier League matches, all the La Liga matches. So all the football guys in the country know that this is the premier spot to come and watch all your games. We open sometimes at 8 o'clock in the morning to watch football around the world. So also your basketball in the evenings, your American football. We show pretty much everything.
Well, I know you're situated in an enclave that is populated by Latin people. It stretches from Cummins Street right down to Onock Street, taking in Charlotte Street, Regent Street, Rob Street. They are, I am assuming they are, how you say it in Spanish, female bonito that populate the restaurant.
Where is this heading? Yes, there are definitely males and females living in the neighborhood. Continue on,
I was just
please.
saying, it's a place, but you see, there's the emphasis on bonito, which means beautiful.
Okay.
So casa is house. So
Okay.
Casa
Bonito.
Bonito, house of beautiful women.
Maybe for my next business. Are you willing to invest? You're looking for something to
No,
diversify it?
No. I got to open bookstores selling philosophy books.
Bonita books. Go for it.
But before we journey into the direction you're comfortable with, could Craig tell us what the beautiful
I don't
game
know.
is in German?
Just move on. Just move on.
I didn't know you speak German.
He studied in Germany, so you had to speak the language.
Gotcha.
You don't know what the beautiful game
Let's
is
just
in
move
German?
on, Freddie.
Okay. What the beautiful game is in Spanish? It gotta be bonito. What's game in
I
Spanish?
don't speak Spanish.
Okay.
Well, you asked him to speak German and me to speak Spanish. We speak English.
The beautiful game.
What we had Dr. Mark France, your colleague at ANU, and we had Jonathan Yearwood, and we asked him, look, you've been around with us all the time. There is about 10 of you who have patronized this show, and for the 3.5 years it's been around, we thank you, and therefore we always reach out to you. And we asked them, now we're asking you. You made a name, you achieve a profile from your political activism, political commentary, political in face. What's on your mind in that context?
Politically.
Yeah.
Well, I think I have to start off by saying, more like an apology almost. I know politics is a very emotional conversation here in Guyana. We are a hyper-political country. And after all the work I did during the elections, I was on camera every single day, I was doing interviews, I was on the road, as much as I did during the elections time, that month at least building up, I know a lot of people, were following and looking to me, for commentary, etc. And as soon as the elections ended, I did stop. And I hope people can take a look around and understand why. Not because I've stepped out of politics by any means. It's just I've been extremely busy, getting a new business together.
It's a sabbatical.
And yeah, absolutely.
Like France said he's taking a sabbatical.
Yeah. There's time for politics and there's times for business and making sure, your house is in order, if you will. And essentially just to make sure, none of these political parties can buy me out.
So
let me make sure my money's independent.
They say football is a beautiful game. Is politics bonito game?
No, it's nastiness. It's really sad. And if you were to ask me, if I were to get back to your question of my current political, thoughts, and this is not specific to Guyana only, but geez, it has become so immoral. I feel like the morality, I feel like we have lost empathy. I feel like like, it's almost inhumane now what's going on in politics and around the world in general. I mean, and Guyana is no different. I mean, it's just nobody cares about each other anymore, and every man for himself. Whether you're looking out for your money, whether you're looking out for your, you know, your own well-being, nobody cares about each other anymore. And we've been, and Freddie, you of all people know, as a, you know, I'll call you a political scientist, if you will, as somebody this well-read, knows that this is not the first time in history this has happened, and we know where this is going to lead. You cannot degrade to this level and not expect, and not feel like you're going to be surprised by what's coming. All right?
I must say that's an esoteric statement. I don't understand. You can't degrade. What you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know quite what to come in. You understand what it means by that?
I'm listening.
You can't degrade?
Yeah.
What? You're talking in a holistic sense. The society is descending into degradation.
I feel like I've explained that.
Politics.
Or your point to...
No, society, not just politics, but society. Led by politics, but society. And I explained that as clearly as I could. It is a breakdown in our morals. All right? It is a situation where everybody only cares about themselves now. Everybody sits down and decides, makes all their decisions based on what will only benefit them and them only, and has no care as to what your neighbor feeling, has no care as to what, you know, your business partner feeling, your friend feeling, or anybody for that matter,
So
that you might be able to help.
social degradation in Guyana.
Yes, correct. That's
Or
what I
was it
said.
more holistic degradation?
Yes, the degrading of society.
I don't know if Craig wants to come in here.
Recently in politics, we what you call a little wheelbarrow show off.
Okay.
What you make of that situation?
I think it's a prime example of exactly where our society has gotten. I think it was a stunt for publicity, and much like Kim Kardashian's sex tape, okay, it just brings clout and fame, and the idea that was put in behind it was to embarrass the government. And in reality, when I watch what the government has done previous to this, it's just a tit for tat. It's a stupid game that all of us are watching and being distracted by, when in reality, they are just looking out for themselves. That's all politicians doing in this country. I mean, you want to talk about the wheelbarrow stunt, let's talk about the other things that he's highlighted. You know, for example, you know, these ministers with these mansions now that has no accountability, that no auditing has been done. How have they accumulated this kind of wealth this quickly on their salaries? And, you know, we're running behind these specific situations, but ignoring the larger picture that it is a total breakdown, it is a total immoral dynamic. And we as the people, and I feel bad for Guyanese, because they just sit in here and whether not exposed enough, whether uneducated, are not realizing that we are the pawns in this. We are the ones that are getting the short end of the stick, that are getting the pennies in the wheelbarrow, and we laughing about it, pretending like good for them, or tit for tat is a ha-ha thing, and we're the only ones suffering. It's crazy.
Well, it's not something you endorse. The actions.
No, I don't endorse any politician in any way, shape, or form that is leading this country in any way, shape, or form to be doing anything unprofessional. Full stop. With that said, I believe that until it stops at the top, I don't expect anything to be fixed at the bottom. All right? And when I heard the campaign speeches and the nonsense that they talk about Mohammed's and his family, right? And all the way from the beginning, all the way from before he even stepped into politics, I'm sorry. He gets to a stage as a human being that, you know, he does his own publicity stunt to make them look stupid, and so be it. But at the end of the day, that still is not justification.
But let me ask you this thing. Don't you think in politics every now and then it needs a little, I don't know what term to use, something a little quirky just to get your point over? You don't think it has a place in politics?
You see, now we're changing the conversation to what is good political strategy. And at the end of the day, like I said, Kim Kardashian sex tape, at the end of the day, that is good publicity. So if you're looking for publicity as a politician, by all means, whether it's good for the people is a different conversation.
Okay.
Or whether it carries moral values that small generation should.
You look at Donald Trump and all his nonsense. Sorry, buddy. At the end of the day...
Better be careful with that.
No.
They won't get into any problem with the US.
No, let me make this very clear to all of you in Guyana. I had a good laugh here recently, actually. I held a group from the Canadian Embassy and the American Embassy, but mixed in with business people, etc. At Jogo Bonito. And it was the Canada versus America hockey game. Gold medal Winter Olympics hockey game. And it was so funny because there were a few Guyanese that were here with us as well. Packed house, everybody having a good time. You know, us Canadians are very serious about our hockey. And the conversation was this back and forth between the Americans and the Canadians. And the conversation was very aggressive. And, oh, we're going to beat you guys. Oh, you guys are a joke. Oh, you guys don't know nothing about this, blah, blah, blah. Normal sports banter. And I watched the guy and he's doing exactly what Freddie just did. Oh my gosh, no. You're not supposed to say bad things about America. And it's, no, I'm sorry. This is Guyana. This is our sovereign land. This is our oil. This is our country.
I could tell you, people are afraid to come on this program and criticize the Americans.
Absolutely.
And they told me they fear that it will be monitored by the US Embassy and they have a visa problem. And the United States now for a visa wants to see your social media
profile.
That's now a requirement.
Well, luckily I'm more associated with Canada and I don't fear America. As a matter of fact, Canadians are not very fond of Americans because they're very abrasive and crude. And at the end of the day, we are watching what the American government, and I don't mean this to the American people in the least, but watching what the American government is doing around the world, and I go back to how our conversation started, it is immoral, okay? People are dying. It is inhumane. I don't care what your ideology is of America first or protect Americans or blah, blah, blah. Human life is paramount. And you look around to the top countries in the world, right? Go through your Scandinavian, your Denmark, your Norway, your Sweden, your Switzerland, your Japan, your even to Canada, where again I can always reference.
White Western countries?
No, I'm calling countries with the highest standard of living in the world, with the highest quality of life in the world.
And
at the end of the day,
countries don't have that?
Of course not.
Barbados don't have that?
Of the highest standard of living in the world? No. They have lots of poverty.
High standard of
and lots of
living
social issues.
High standard of living mean a country is morally superior to another?
It's not morally superior, but it's understanding that there are systems that are put in place. Again,
you didn't call Mauritius.
I think you're getting why would I need to call these countries just out of curiosity?
Well, just out of curiosity, why you only calling white Western countries?
Because at the end of the day, we have to use our examples on what is working, not as what is not working. Okay?
That's not a proper answer to my question.
Of course it is, because if all of your index,
only Western white countries,
because all of your indices,
when South Korea has a far higher standard of living than all of the countries you just called.
South Korea is a fantastic country.
You didn't call South Korea. You didn't call Mauritius. Singapore,
but again, you're getting confused.
Singapore has a far. Every Western country you just called, Singapore is better in standard of living, social services than any of those ones.
That's not true, Freddie. That is completely your opinion. And I did call Japan.
Right.
I just said Japan.
No, but the majority is white countries. I studied for 5 years in Canada. There's more poverty in Canada than there is in Singapore and South Korea. There is.
Sorry, what are you basing that on, just out of curiosity?
No. I want to know.
Don't back out. I want to know how you've come to that conclusion.
Just the same way you rattle off your head about Denmark, Sweden.
No, because I can speak on the social securities that Canada has.
Singapore,
because you are using an opinion on this.
Why I can't study Canada?
A factual basis on that,
You live in Guyana because you're Canadian.
Freddie, you just made a very decisive statement that there's more poverty in Canada than Singapore.
Yes, there is.
Please explain. Please elaborate on fact. With fact. Show your work.
How do you mean it out? You said that. You said
no.
No, you
I
called
did not say
Scandinavian
that.
countries and you didn't elaborate.
I
on
just
it.
said Japan
Why
as
not
well.
elaborate on it?
So again,
I know you said Japan, but I want to know why you left out Singapore. Why you left
Okay,
out?
Freddie. You
So
know
you're
what?
telling
You
me
know what,
Canada
Freddie?
doesn't have
You know what,
property?
Freddie? You're exactly right. I will throw in Singapore just to appease you.
No.
I hope you feel better against Singapore
but
and South Korea.
It shows your ideological thing.
I just said
where
Japan.
you're going.
I said Japan.
No, but those are
What, white Asian countries now?
Japan
You're
think
just
it's white?
nitpicking
Japan
now,
think
Freddie.
it's a white country?
You're nitpicking now, Freddie. You're trying to pick a hole in something that there is not a hole
I
in.
find over the 3.5 years you've been on this program and you speak, you tend to have a pro-Western stance and you tend to be flippant
How
about
have
the
I
third
been
world.
pro-Western? How?
The last time on one of these programs you were very insulting to the third world, very insulting to India. And you said, why must I talk about India? They rape people in India. They don't rape people in Canada.
Freddie, you are talking about one of the countries, India, that has one of the highest poverty rates on the planet, as you know, in which there are people malnourished. Don't get me wrong, there's 1 billion people, I get it, it's a very hard thing to manage.
That?
Freddie, if you are trying to tell me the poverty that exists in India exists in Canada, that is a crazy conversation.
I never said that. That's an acrobatic leap you made.
Okay.
That's an acrobatic leap
So then what's wrong with my examples?
Your example was that you called white countries with the standard of living.
Good.
And you're making it out as if other non-white countries don't have very good standard of living.
Right. So
there are serious poverties in some of those Western countries.
Now let me you see, this is the problem.
They're ghettos
now
in France.
let me justify what I said.
Let them justify.
It's just a little important to understand. If you go through all of your indices, okay, quality of life, corruption index, GDPs, social security networks, you understand why these countries are the examples.
No, but
because
you see what you've
safe.
done. No, I have to cut you there.
Go ahead.
You putting in a set of variables that suit you. No,
doesn't suit me, it suits the people in our country.
No,
don't suit me.
No, it's you talking.
I hear.
You talking, so I have to object to your variables.
Okay.
No country is worth the respect if that country has a foreign policy that aids and abets genocide. Guyana doesn't. Trinidad doesn't.
Hold on.
The Caribbean doesn't.
I love
Africa
that.
doesn't.
Hold on. Guyana don't aid and abet genocide? Guyana don't aid and abet genocide? Did Guyana not just put out a statement stating they would like to tell Iran, God only knows how we think we could get involved in international politics, but we just said that Iran should stop their unprovoked attacks within the region?
Iran
unprovoked.
They didn't say that. They said
my God.
They said the Gulf states.
No.
Hold on.
I love when you argue this because I can show you.
Unprovoked attack on the Gulf states.
Not on
Israel.
No, but you see, I'm not going to allow you to switch.
I'm not going to switch. I promise
you calling countries that aid and abet the destruction of Gaza and those countries meet your criteria. Let me tell you, Canada, France and all of them ran over to Israel and met a war criminal named Netanyahu. And you find it convenient to talk about standard of living, social. What about support for genocide?
Department of Public Information statement on Iran. This is from the DPI website.
No.
I just want to make sure.
Show me what Canada is doing in Gaza.
No. We talk about Guyana. You see, this is the problem. You just made a statement that Guyana does not.
You know what this guy just said?
Guyana does not support these things.
Guyana is aiding genocide. He just said that.
Well, he's about to prove what he's saying.
The government of Guyana reiterates the need for the sustained pursuit of lasting peace and stability in the Middle East. The unprovoked attack by Iran on the Kingdom of Bahrain, Qatar, Emirates, Kuwait,
That's it.
unjustified. Why?
That is it.
Why?
It's an unprovoked attack on those countries.
So why do you think that Iran got to this level?
Huh?
Hold on. Are you telling me that these countries that I just named are not supporting America?
No,
do not have American military bases that are being used to attack Iran? That's what you're telling me? You see, this is the problem. I'm tired of this nitpicking, man. Be honest about what's going on. How?
Hold on.
You just made a ridiculous statement.
back and forth. Let me get a word in.
Go ahead.
Those countries have said that they have not allowed the US to launch attacks from on their land.
That is untrue.
And as far as I know, I've not heard of any of those countries base being used to launch attack.
Okay. You mind if I Google it? Just to show you?
No, hold on. But the point is this. These people have not attacked you. So you attacking them becomes unprovoked. And I believe the US attacking Iran is unprovoked. I believe Israel attacking Iran is unprovoked.
Okay.
But you can't, because
so why did
you're
the
the
father,
father. Hold on, you're the father. You got problems with another father, and he is attacking your children.
So why did Guyana not put out a
subscribe to that?
Why did Guyana not put out a statement stating that America should cease their unprovoked attacks on other countries, like Gaza, for example? Why we say nothing about it? Because now we are clearly aiding and abetting a genocide if we are not speaking out against it.
No, it's nonsense. That's nonsense. You just
why we don't say nothing about America what they're doing?
Kian.
See how this conversation is
I always tell people, hold on. I always tell people, running a country is a macro way of how families are run, right? Basically, what you see happening in any given family on earth is typically how a country run, but just larger, right? They got certain smaller nuances, but that's not it. I'm generally speaking. You in a family, and you got a little issue with a sister of yours. You gonna run in the whole public and say, hey, me sister is a drug addict, me sister should die. Well, not die, I didn't want to use that term. But you get what I'm saying. Is that the position you will take?
So what
when it comes to your sister, you will, in the family, you will try to deal with this thing. You'll try to get help for her, get a lawyer, get a this, get a that.
All right.
Right? But when it comes to the neighbor and the other people, you're going to say, oh, they got to go to jail, they got for this, they got for that. Isn't that how families run on a daily basis?
So are you implying that behind closed doors, the Honorable Dr. Irfan Ali, the president of Guyana, is looking at Christie Noem or Pompeo or whoever come in this time, whoever is in charge of America at this point, or is meeting with Trump and said, hey man, you should ease down on Israel, on Gaza there, man, right? That's what you're telling me that the president is doing behind closed doors?
But do you have evidence that he's not?
To his big sister?
Do you have evidence that he's not?
You see,
we ain't got no evidence to the contrary. We don't have evidence to the contrary. All I'm just saying is bringing you away from the ideal that you're trying to paint to the real.
If that is what you guys believe are happening behind closed doors, then
it doesn't matter what I believe. I don't have evidence.
Because the problem is it comes back to morality. Okay? Because if we could put out a statement against Iran and what Iran is doing, then how come if this is happening at all, we can't state anything on what America's doing? All right? At the end of the day, because we can even go as far as Cuba. Cuba, our best friend for how long? Since our independence, Cuba has been our best friend. One of our largest trading partners. The most necessary aspect of our medical system here in Guyana over the past 50 years. And yet, all of a sudden, we decided we starting to get involved with their political situation. We have decided in Guyana that we have now gotten to the level that we, and I quote, we think that Cuba needs a regime change. Who is we?
Nobody said that.
Oh my God!
Status quo is the word.
No. Listen.